More and more of these bloody leeches every night. Aye. But the guards recruit more and more every year.
When did you join the guard? 2 days ago. This is my first patrol. Over there! There's one of the vermin! He's done for! This is no place for a gentleman. Oi! Didn't... A leech! A leech! I said you got a fucking grave!
I cannot enter. Whitechapel. This neighborhood is linked somehow to the kind Lady Ashbury's blackmail. First, let's find this Petrescu fellow.
Fuck you all! Fuck it all! Stop it now, Albert, stop it! I'll not die in some stinking alley drinking worse than a week-old lappy.
Are you all right?
The bastard hit the wall next to me. I don't even know if he meant to miss.
If you've been hurt, I can help you. I'm a doctor.
Name's Albert. Remember it. Now bugger off.
Do you need assistance?
Please. Feeling tired.
There you go. Let's hope nobody steals it from...
Very funny.
What happened? Did you really steal it?
Hey! I didn't do anything. It ain't me.
All right. Perhaps the poor drunk just confused you with someone else.
Sod off, mister. You ain't got no clue what's going on here. Bastard was a soldier in the war, so now he's got the right to shoot me.
It's true. I'm not familiar with this part of town. Perhaps you could help me.
I said sod off. Go find yourself...
Do you know Nurse Dorothy Crane from the Pembroke Hospital? If you know anything...
Never heard of her. She's...
Goodbye.
Me? I'll not die in some piss-stinking alley reeking worse than a week-old lappy.
What? Shooting a boy in the middle of the street. Not the best thing to do, wouldn't you say?
What? You saw what happened? Who are you?
I'm Dr. Reed, and I'd like to ask you a few questions, if you promise me to set your gun aside.
No. Look, I'm not a violent man. I'm Benjamin Palmer, doctor. And no one can help me. Not...
What can you tell me about this place?
Nothing to say, really. This is where I used to live, and this is where I live now.
You don't have anywhere to go? No family that would welcome you?
Not since the death of my wife, Albert's mother. She was...
You mean you used to have a better life?
Yeah, I had a wife, a home, and a job. I even used to have a name. Now I'm just Ben.
Perhaps you...
I'm sick, broke, and my son just stole my...
Do you know Nurse Dorothy Crane?
It's funny, I've been searching for her too. And his
Really?
word is she ain't real. She's a cover for some doctor who runs an...
Whatever the boy did, I'm sure he didn't deserve a public execution.
I swear I didn't want to hit him. It's just that... I'm sick in the head, you see, and the boy just frayed me last nerve.
What is it, Benjamin? It
The
was...
doctors called me a liar, a coward. Put me in a straitjacket, locked me up. Finally, they sent me back to the front lines with a handful of tablets.
It's a pity that doctors still practice.
Now only the pills stop me thinking about this shit. To not hear the...
A gun, alcohol, and a bad temper.
I won't end up another drunk arsehole littering the streets. Not me.
Good evening, miss.
Good evening, sir. Are you interested in a miraculous cure?
Actually...
Then you have come to the right place.
Oh, really? Why didn't...
Ah, my brother has spoken of your research, sir.
Tell me, who intrigues you most in Whitechapel?
The region itself is something to see, but I would say
What do you think of the locals?
most of them are afraid or desperate. They all come to me eventually for my remedy.
Is there anyone I should avoid?
Cadogan Bates, without a doubt. The bloody bastard remorselessly exploits poor migrants as soon as they get here.
Do you know Nurse Dorothy Crane from the Pembroke?
I don't like to talk about competition.
Competition, you say?
Never met her, but it seems she provides some sort of medical care to the poor. The whole thing has to be some sort of...
I'd like to see what kind...
The Swanborough cordial can be the answer to all your problems. As long as you have the money. When science fails you, this elixir will give you faith again.
Someday you'll understand. You've wasted your life away.
I can't believe I'm doing this. It's locked, all right. Hello, young man. I'm Dr. Reed, and I...
Sorry, no, sir. My father does not like me.
Your father is worried about you, boy. He asked me to look...
So my father actually worries about me then? Even my dreams are soaked with gloom.
So, may I ask...
I'm not bothered.
How do you feel?
I'm fine. I mean, it's not easy every day.
Speaking of which...
My father is an idiot who makes idiot things. That's all I have to say.
Forgive my bluntness, young man. But
Why should I? I never want...
you have a roof over your head, a place to call home. Many people here are not as lucky, you know.
That's exactly what my father says. Harry, you should be grateful for what you've got. But I wasn't even consulted.
If life here is so terrible for you, why don't you just leave this place? Have you ever spoken to your father about it?
I don't go outside.
So that's why you stay at home all day? For fear...
I'm not afraid of disease or death, Dr. Reed.
Do you know Nurse Dorothy Crane from the...
Yes, I know her. She came here to examine me when I...
Goodbye, young...
Even my dreams are soaked with gloom.
It's locked.
Is there only pain and suffering in this world?
I know it's hard to believe, but this district has always... Welcome, sir. Please.
I am Dr. Reed. I would like...
Doctor? Interesting. I'm Barrett Lewis.
How is business around here?
Business? I have no business. Between this racket, theft...
I see. Sounds like you blame some...
It's no secret Joe Peterson spends his time harassing merchants.
As a merchant, you see Whitechapel every day. Have you noticed any...
Well, you mean besides the epidemic, the war, and all the usual crap? As long as I can remember, this part of town has been a
Violence is increasing in the borough.
Yeah. A few nights ago, some blokes jumped me. Came out of one of the condemned work...
Where did this happen?
In the closed workshops nearby. I work there as an apprentice.
Have you been hurt?
No, but that's only because I ran like hell. Those men were raving...
Have you heard...
Nurse Crane? So the bitch really is a nurse?
Yes, she's a nurse, and quite a good one. What did she do to gain such notoriety?
Dorothy Crane ain't even a real name. Something like Dorothea Craniu. Something like that. Came to England fleeing the war, I was told.
That doesn't explain why she irritates you so much.
Your precious Nurse Crane gives away medical supplies and prescriptions for free. I offered to sell it for a fair cut, but no. Miss Crane wanted to play the quiet saint.
Right then.
You're late. Where's my money?
Cheap price, good quality.
Come
Come on, take a look. Don't be afraid.
Excuse me, sir. I have a few questions.
Another journalist? I didn't answer them.
I'm not a journalist.
A doctor, you say?
Really? But still, here I am.
I'm Joe Peterson's son. The Colossus Joker.
May I ask what you do around here?
I do whatever I want, and sometimes even more. Now sod off.
According to you, physicians are scarce in this part.
Not familiar with this neighborhood, are you? I guess your fancy colleagues are too afraid of being stabbed in...
This part of town does have quite a reputation.
Totally. Look at me, for instance. I always look my opponent in the eye before...
How did you become the local bully?
There's no pride in roughing up poor bastards. But this is the only job I've found. And it pays well, too.
A job? So you're...
I got enlisted by the Wet Boot Boys, a gang from the docks. I'm their muscle for their dirty work.
You survive at any cost, even at the expense...
I don't care what you think, sir.
I'm not sure Mr. Lewis would agree with your...
Oh, do you really think he's the poor victim here? Barrett.
Have you heard of a nurse named Dorothy Crane? She's a colleague of mine, and is supposed to live around here.
Dorothy Crane? Yeah.
Could you please tell me more?
She's a nice girl. Tries to help the migrants. I offered to give her a hand, but she said...
Harry doesn't seem happy living in Whitechapel.
I've always put my son's interests above everything else.
You really love your son, don't you, Mr.
He's my pride and joy. Even if it...
Do you have any regrets?
Only one. Not to have my beloved wife by my side. She died.
Since the criminal nature of your job...
No one will ever take my son away from me. If that ever occurred, I'd hunt the bastard down and rip off his head.
Why do you keep on working for the gang?
It's true, I hate this job. And I know I made some bad...
You could leave tomorrow. Start another life in an...
That's easy for you to say, Doctor. We are poor.
Goodbye.
Come on, take a look. Don't be afraid. Cheap price, good quality. Come on, take a look. Don't be afraid.
What do you want? Leave me alone.
Good evening, sir. I'm Dr. Reed. I'm looking for Nurse Dorothy Crane.
There is no Dorothy Crane here. Now goodbye.
I'm afraid this medical leaflet says the opposite, sir.
Really? Well, I'm afraid I'm going to close this door right now. Go bother someone else, Mr. Doctor.
To enter that house, I must discover who this man really is. Maybe I could start by observing what he's up to.
Its effectiveness has been proven by many. Even the flu is no
Goody.
match for the Swanborough cordial.
Good.
When science fails you, this elixir will give you faith again.
Back to the bloody grind! Not a good plan. Die, vermin! Leech spotted! Watch out! It's too fucking fast! Die, vermin!
No one's there. It's locked.
A strange man was at the door with a pass for our medical facility. I refused him entry.
Darius, how could you know he didn't need our help?
His clothes were too finely tailored to be for Whitechapel.
Perhaps just a friend of that stray poet who is always about.
Richard Nethercott? No, not of the same cloth, this man. I suspect some machination from that journalist.
Clayton Darby. Is he still asking questions?
Yes. I saw him drifting around St. Mary's Church. I swear he is tracking me just downwind.
I must talk to that journalist or the poet. They must know about Darius. Nearby the church they just mentioned.
Come on, Barrett, you know the game. You pay for piece of...
Fancy bite.
You never... Joe Peterson. He's the villain here.
I'd known Joe for years. I saw him box once or twice. He was a friend that...
What can you tell me about Mr. Peterson? Besides...
Colossus Joe was a decent boxer. Good one, even. But after his wife passed away, he found every excuse to stop training. Just wanted to pick fights with it.
It's never easy to find a new path in life. Especially...
We've all had some rough times, ain't we? But most of us don't use our fists to see us through.
And no one has ever stood up to this thug.
Nobody will be fool enough to stand against them.
What do you know of Harry Peterson? The boy seems...
Harry's a good boy, but he spends most of his time complaining. He's had it tough, all right, but he needs to...
What troubles him?
Well, despite being his father's son, almost everything, I think. He never wanted to come to Whitechapel in the first place. Hates this place more...
Goodbye for now.
Don't be shy, handsome. What can...
I'm not looking for what you're selling. But I'd like to ask you if...
All right then, but be quick. Though I usually get...
Christina, have you been examined?
I don't like doctors or hospitals.
Considering your line of work, I assure you it is only a matter of time before you have health.
If it is going to happen, it will happen. Right now.
You can put your own life in danger, that's your...
And you think that would worry me? If you knew the men...
Do you know Nurse Dorothy Crane from the Pembroke Hospital?
I don't know her, but I know her name is Dorothy.
You seem to respect her. Tell me about yourself.
Are you joking with me? People don't usually...
I have no interest in your work.
Short story. The war, exile, and England. This country is not especially welcoming. I've been refused many jobs because of where I am from. I had few options left.
I always thought I was the master of my own fate. But now...
You know, this money is not only for me. I have good reasons to need this money quickly. But it is not your...
Goodbye.
I'm cheap and... Would you like to live here? Pay me a glass and I'll be gentle.
Good evening, miss. I'm Doc... I know what you're thinking. A tall stranger who meets a girl in the street at night. It reeks of the penny dreadfuls. But I mean you no harm, truly. I know you understand what I'm saying. Very well. Hello again, miss. Very well. Hello again. Melia, I know you work for Dorothy Crane. Please tell me about her secret dispensary. A stubborn and mute comrade. Nurse Crane and Darius Petrescu.
Will not protect you.
Forgive my interruption.
Do not apologize, my son. Father Tobias Whitaker is always happy to teach mortals about...
I am Dr. Jonathan Reed.
A scientist? You are much more...
What do you mean when you say that I am more lost?
All scientists are entangled in a world of causes and consequences. And most of them can't see the...
Quite a judgmental opinion, if you ask me. But what do I know?
But you are seeking answers, aren't you?
I am. But the answers I seek are bait. What?
All
Quite a...
But you...
Well...
As a doctor, you must be aware of the decimating epidemic.
What do you mean?
The beast is finally revealing itself, corrupting the flesh.
I have heard enough. Good evening. What? Well,
As
what?
The beast.
Really? And what would be...
We must fight the disease before this legion...
What is left then?
Cleansing fire.
Tell me, Tobias. What exactly...
God will recognize his own. More than once this city has risen from the ashes, hardened and purified.
Science and progress are up.
See, Doctor? Now you acknowledge the
Do you know...
I don't like...
So, you're not exactly a fan of Florence
Nuns should be the only women allowed to take...
Why do you hate Nurse Crane?
Before coming to London, she...
Have you any friends? Any family left?
No. But I have a disciple I see as my...
Where did you send him?
I sent Samuel to the
You...
As a...
Tell me... Tell me, science...
Seed...
I have heard...
Excuse me, sir. Are you familiar with this part of town?
Sorry, I'm new to Whitechapel. But perhaps...
Dr. Reed, the famous surgeon. I'll gladly help if I...
Why are the newspapers keeping silent about the Spanish influenza?
There's a war going on. People shouldn't be demoralized by news of deadly disease.
It's a disgrace. People are left to die alone.
These are bad times indeed. So much for...
What is a journalist doing in this borough?
He goes where none of his colleagues would dare to go, to inform the country.
So you risk your life to reveal the truth. I saw many reporters do the same during the...
Whitechapel is the crucible of so many untold stories and tragedies.
That's quite honorable of you. But is the...
Not at all, sir. And that's why I'm an independent journalist, hoping to sell some stories.
Have you any idea of the...
I've had to run and hide more than once from frenzied mobs.
That science is unable to explain the fact.
I confess, I shit.
Christina Popper claims she sells her body because she...
Of course I do. Her story is exactly what...
Do you think things will ever change, Mr. Darby?
I believe the situation can only improve. And now that...
I heard you're investigating an underground...
Not much, I'm afraid. They are wary of strangers, and I'm not...
I'm afraid one of the nurses from the Pembroke Hospital...
Ah! Could it be Dorothy?
Without a doubt, you are a damn fine journalist, Mr. Darby. What do you know of her accomplice? A man named...
I don't know much about the man. He's very cautious. Never goes out. Doesn't seem to have any friends or family.
He has no relative?
No. Except for that strange man. A poet named Richard Nick.
Where can I find this Mr.
He spends most of his time lurking around Whitechapel. Talking to himself or declaring verses. These days, you can usually find him...
He never goes out?
No. A few days ago, he unexpectedly did. I followed him, but it...
Really?
He went to the nearest mailbox, but just before posting his letter...
Goodbye, Mr.
Some of that! I hate leeches! Die, leech! I'll send you to hell!
joke to you, innit? Stupid drugs for the sick and suffering.
Me? I'll die in some piss-stinking alley drinking worse than a week-old lavvy.
Be on your way home. Stop right now! So get their weapons ready! Stand by!
Good evening, Christina.
Change your mind, Mr. Reed?
Clayton Darby claims he will
I believe Clayton's courage will erode with time, until he finally...
Why this?
How can you...
Are you talking?
I've seen your type come here to get a good fuck in a cheap room or a dark...
Do you need any assistance, Miss Popper?
It depends on the price.
I am shocked that you would think I am that sort of man.
Forgive my suspicion. I'm so used to liars with good manners. Thank you.
Goodbye, miss.
Good evening, Doctor.
Do you need assistance?
That would be no...
If you persist in investigating the most...
Thank you, sir.
Goodbye,
Cheap price, good quality. Come on, take a look.
I must insist, sir.
I have no time for...
This elixir will give you faith again.
Boy.
Good evening.
I'm afraid...
You don't seem...
Oh...
The wet boots will be proud of me. Me? I'll not die in some piss-stinking alley reeking worse than a week-old lappy.
When science fails.
Good evening, Harry.
Sure. Is there only pain and suffering in this world?
So,
I'm not bothered.
do you need any...
Yes, I do.
You'll feel better with this. But you need to get a grip.
I'm not sure I'm happy with the idea of living long in a world like this. But I thank you for your concerns.
Your father and Mr. Lewis used to be good...
I was young then. I don't remember Mr. Lewis ever coming back again after my mother died. Or was it after my father started bullying?
Have you tried speaking to Mr. Lewis about it?
I don't go out often, but yes. And he scolded me and told me to leave him alone.
But you are not responsible for your father.
Am I not? Dad always says that he joined that gang for my sake.
Would it ease tensions with your father if he got an honest job?
Can't say. I'd be glad if he dropped it.
Why is that?
Sometimes I suspect it's me, Dr. Reed.
Goodbye, young.
Is there only pain and suffering in this world?
and...
Good evening, sir. I'm Dr. Reed.
Please be my guest. Although I may not be the best informant.
Really?
I'm a poet, sir. Richard...
Do you need medical...
It may be wise to let you...
I understand your appetite for words and macabre beauty, sir. But you should be more...
The nutrition of my mind is more important than my physical...
May I ask what you're doing at this hour of night, sir?
Not at all. I'm just enjoying the pleasure of a quiet walk. Though night talks are always preferable, if you ask me.
But are you not afraid?
Oh, why should I? I see some equity in the Spanish flu. No flesh should be saved, say the scriptures. Good or evil, rich or poor, all are equal in the eyes.
If you say so. But as a physician in a time of epidemic, I must caution you to avoid unnecessary
Thank you, Doctor. But we both know the seeker of truth has to go bold.
What are your thoughts on the terrible situation?
Terrible, you say? No. Of course, the death of so many innocents is a tragedy. But the scourge has not been all bad for the...
What are you talking about?
Do you remember London before the flu? Noisy, cacophonic, quiet...
Yes. The enjoyable silence of the grave. You have a unique perspective on the situation, I must admit.
Most people fail to understand my perspective. I don't blame them. But how could I call myself a poet if I veiled my feet?
Are you aware that your life could be in danger in this part of town?
But this is where I must be to feel the real beat of the city. I had to come, see it for myself, alone.
I understand your need for solitude, but it's not safe around here.
I don't care. I don't have many friends, Doctor.
If some misfortune came upon you...
Well, you, for a start, my dear...
Tell me, Mr. Nethercott, why seek
The place is not beautiful per se, but how to explain it?
Do you not think it a little morbid?
On the contrary, sir. Whitechapel is full of life, full of beauty. Just like my dear muse, the wonderful Camellia.
What can you tell me about Camellia?
Not much. And that's the beauty of it.
Perhaps you're just afraid to find out the truth about your muse.
One day, perhaps, I'll ask her to come with me. But will she still be my wild flower of Whitechapel if she moves uptown?
And have you ever tried to learn more about her? Where she lives? How she survives? Whom she may know?
Maybe I prefer she remains an enigma.
In what way, exactly?
The struggle by gaslight, the barren smiles and the added hunger under the rain.
If you say so.
Such vibrant antagonism and vivid paradox. The stripped humanity raged across each street.
Vivid, of course, yes. And what about the poignant distress?
Oh yes, the poignant distress. You see what I mean, don't you? That's what I want to write about, and that's what Whitechapel is made of.
Did you know the mute florist is a member of a secret society?
No, I didn't. But I thank you for this information, sir. For it only enriches the mystery surrounding the precious Camellia.
Are you not curious? Is there not more you wish to know?
That girl has not an ounce of malice in her. Whatever she may be hiding, it's certain to be for the benefit of most, if not all.
I fear you are a hopeless romantic, Mr. Nethercott.
Guilty as charged, Dr. Reed.
May I ask you a few questions about the district?
Extraordinary part of town, is it not? I'll be glad to help you, if I can.
I'm looking for Dorothy Crane, a nurse who lives in this vicinity.
Dorothy Crane. Oh, I love the name. The Crane of Whitechapel. Sounds very mysterious. But sorry, no, never heard of her.
What can you tell me about an old man called Darius?
Darius Petrescu? Yes, I know him. At first, I thought he was only a small publisher. I invited him to publish my work, but his reaction was pretty clear.
Not interested in your talent?
Darius is an old political activist who takes delight in printing tracts and lampoons. Those communist activities only require mediocre writing skills.
I'll leave you. Good evening.
And good evening.
You don't really make a living from your scribblings, do you, Richard?
No, sir, I don't. I work so hard. I put all my time, my energy, my devotion into the precise carving of words.
Still, you don't seem to suffer from poverty.
With thanks to my parents, actually. I'm afraid I would not be able to live on my own without their help.
You seem embarrassed.
Someday I hope to proudly offer my first publication to my parents. Until that day, I'll remain the failure of a son they have to support.
I'll leave you alone. Hello again, miss. Tell me about Richard Nethercott. I understand he is quite fond of you, Camellia.
Sorry, sir. No admittance.
The content of Darius' letter to his children could give me more leverage to enter. Darius is a bit less of a mystery now. It should not be that difficult to incite him to let me in.
Cheap price, good quality. Come on, take a look.
Mr. Petrescu, just 1 minute, please.
You again. Go away.
Sir, wait. Stop this nonsense. I know Nurse Crane is here. Shall we speak man to man, you and I?
All right. Speak up.
Don't you see we're on the same side? We fight to help the poor, sick, and abandoned.
I'm nothing like you, Mr. Doctor.
Yes, you are. You too believe in providing medical care without charge. You know what we have to sacrifice to make the world a better place.
I have to admit your words have conviction. All right, I'll let you see Dorothea. Don't make me regret this, though.